There are multiple use cases right now for artificial intelligence in the casino and the sports betting industry. AI can be used for personal shopping for everyone. It can be used to create chatbots that can increase customer service. So you can actually have a chatbot that sounds very human and will be able to understand, hundreds of questions and answer your customers in a rapid succession where they won't even really understand, or they won't even have a suspicion that it's not a human being answering these questions. It can help with seamless programmatic advertising buying as well. So you can set up programmatic advertising where you're advertising through Google, let's say, or Google AdWords in ways that the buying will be done instantaneously and it'll be finding the best demographic and audience for you. It can also help with predictive customer service. So you can look at the problems that you've been having in terms of your customer service issues, and it can actually figure out what problems might be upcoming in the near or short term. One of the other great ways is it can actually optimize marketing automation, and it can help you not just, it can help you take a blast that normally you were blasting out to, let's say, 30,000 people. It can tell you not just the best time to do it, what the best message will be, and you can actually set up the system so that the system is actually choosing and looking at the best times and the best marketing collateral for these particular people. So that should increase the open rate of your advertising campaigns. It can also help with things like voice recognition, voice search, augmented search. Sentiment analysis is a good one for social media. And facial recognition technology, if you have, well, obviously for a casino, having facial recognition technology would be good to capture the VIPs who are entering the casino. But we're also moving into emotional recognition, so you actually recognize when people are having a bad time in their casino play. So that might be a time when you would want to give them some coupons or upgrade them to a better room, or give them a restaurant coupon or something like that. So these are the currently available ones, and recommendation engines obviously are a big one as well. So we do a lot of work with customer churn, which utilizes logistic regression. AI can also be used for facial recognition technology. We have a partner, Hitachi Data Systems, that actually utilizes technology that can spot one face in 30 million in about a second or two. So that was obviously very useful for technology in capturing what's going on the casino floor. Other things are, we use neural network technology also to capture marketing information. So you'll be able to analyze products, spending patterns, and patron characteristics, as well as forecasting sales. We also work with table games revenue management technology as well. So that's actually looking at building models that are actually going to help you predict the minimum price of table game hands. So in Macau, it's very good for Baccarat. In the US, it would be good for games like Blackjack. And then survival analysis can also be utilized for table games revenue management, and also hotel room pricing. So we're working on some technology that is actually for Baccarat. In Macau, they have these giant 100-seat Baccarat tables. So the beauty of Baccarat is it's a game where one hand can be played by 100 people at the same time. So if there are ways that you can actually fill the table up with people who are trend players and anti-trend players, or people who tend to play on the one side, on the player side, and people who tend to play on the banker side, and if you can get those tables to 50-50, or as close to 50-50 as possible, you're actually looking at a situation where the casino is just making money, because it's taking 5% of the bankers' winnings. So what we theorize is if you can use machine learning techniques to dig down into the data of the patrons and look at their actual player and pattern behavior, and then set up baccarat tournaments and fill up these tables with people of as close to 50-50 as possible, then you can actually increase the house edge on baccarat. Once the games are playing, you can actually then look at your customer data, your customer database, and see the people who are actually on property, and then you could actually send out offers during the day to actually get your equity closer to 50-50. So it's an interesting theory. We're working on it right now, and we don't think it's that complicated to create, but that's one of the technologies that I do believe could be very useful. Now, it would be even easier to implement on online casinos, because those are casinos where you know the play and the action that's happening right then and there. And then if you dig down and understand your client database, you could then send off emails offering, hey, come join this table, and we'll give you a certain break, and it'll actually be, an offer that these people will enjoy, and it'll get the house to a more 50-50 level, which once again is just pure profit. So that's one of the technologies, and it utilizes real-time stream processing. You probably would need a data lake at that point, or some kind of Hadoop database system, but it is one that we do think could be very, very profitable. So a lot of work is being done on voice recognition. That could be useful in terms of getting people to the casino. There's a lot of work being done on sentiment analysis. The four main companies, the FANGs, the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, have all created their own open source machine learning tools and deep learning tools, such as TensorFlow. Microsoft created one called CNTK, I believe it is. Cafe 2 is one that was created by Facebook. These are all very interesting solutions to utilize, and they're all actually open source, so you can actually just put them on your hard drive and set them up and running. So there is a big community being created around them. So finding talent is going to get a lot easier over the next few years. And you can utilize them to do everything from enterprise resource planning, predictive analytics using sensor data, so some IoT options there. Business and economic analytics for your financing and accounting departments. Recommendation engines are very, very powerful and very, very important going forward, because everyone now is looking at personalization as the only type of marketing that you will really accept. We're sophisticated enough, or the customer is sophisticated enough at this point, where if you send them an offer that doesn't fit within the parameters of what they want to receive, they will basically stop playing your game, or stop coming to your casino, or more importantly, stop receiving recommendations and offers from you. Fraud detection is another extremely important one. There's an enormous community out there that is looking to beat the casino in very, in legal ways. So you do need some of this technology that can capture in real time whether there's an event that is anomalous, and not just capturing it, but also creating enough information about that event that you can actually then take that to the police and then show them that these people are actually doing something illegal and hurting your casino. So social media as well, image search, and real-time threat detection for maybe physical people going into the wrong places of your casino, let's say, and security on top of that, because that's a very important thing. When companies like Las Vegas Sands a few years ago got attacked by the Iranian government, actually, and so machine learning can actually be very powerful for catching, people entering your systems illegally. So those, I would say, were the main ones. One of the biggest problems with developing technology within the casino is casinos have about 300, in some cases, some of these large casinos have 300 systems that are all trying to work together. So creating a system that is going to tap into multiple departments can be very difficult. When you have patron data that is taking data from not just the gaming floor, but also every dollar that they're spending throughout the casino, to even social media data. Because we're working with some of our casino clients right now to associate the tweets and the comments on Facebook with their actual patron account, which doesn't sound too complicated, but it actually is, because you need to then bring in this huge amount of unstructured data that will associate with the client record, that then becomes a part of their CRM. And getting it so that it's all working together can be very complicated. I work in Asia as well, so there's a particular problem with a level of skill at some of these casinos, because you're dealing with, in some cases third world countries, in some cases countries that don't have very good educational systems. So you're dealing with a situation where you can't have solutions that are all code based. You have to have drag and drop, nice easy GUIs that are understandable. And in many ways, the software companies have created this technology that has made it a lot more visual and a lot easier to create a lot of these different models. Just a drop down functionality here and there. But you still, some of the ideas are still pretty complicated, so it is tough to get them educated to a level where they can actually take the data and get good business intelligence out of it. So those are the biggest issues. The other big problem with the casinos is they have an enormous amount of data. So parsing out the data to a point where you can trust it is the biggest thing. So you need to get to a point where the data is actually not just understandable enough, but we have a term, junk in, junk out. So if we don't have a good set of data to start with, then any kind of model that we build is going to be useless. So there's an enormous amount of cleansing going on. I have one casino that's got patrons from, 6 different Southeast Asian countries and some American countries as well, or North American countries. And it's hard to figure out that if he spent X amount of dollars in this country, is he the same person that spent X amount of dollars in that country, because he signed up with a passport in one country and a national ID card in another country, let's say. And in many of these clients, maybe they don't want to be associated with all of this. So it's very hard to figure out the value of comps if you don't really understand the true value of the expense of this patron. So those would be some of the difficulties. Artificial intelligence, and so you're dealing with companies that have 5,000, 10,000 people working in these entities, and each person, when you bring them into the casino, you have to pay to get them there in many cases, because they have buses that pick them up, especially in Macau. You have to pay to feed them because they work long shifts. So that's $10 US per person that comes in and plays, plus getting them there and back. And it's an enormous amount of people. So one of the machine learning algorithms that we were working on was the table games revenue management model. And what we were trying to do with that was to actually give the casino the ability to look at shifts as well as the labor management. So maybe if you extend the shift for one person, maybe you don't need to bring in another person. So that was one of the things. And I think in general, AI and machine learning can be very useful in labor management, which is a huge cost. And places like Macau have a very strong, they don't have unions there, but the government basically says you have to use X amount of people that are Macau citizens. So AI can be a very good way to ensure that labor management is not overused. And in terms of CRM, understanding a customer, understanding what offers you should be making on the floor, let's say, or even when you're dealing with people on their website, you want to be able to put up the most relevant offers to them. Or if it's someone who is a high-end VIP client, you don't want him seeing basic rooms. You want him to see very nice rooms. You want him to see the restaurants that he's previously attended. So these are the pictures that AI can actually, once it understands that it's this particular client, maybe he signs in the past, maybe it's just you've associated his IP address with his account. So then when he's looking at it at home, he'll see all of the stuff that reminds him of his last trip to the casino, and then he'll want to book through your website rather than through C-Trip or Expedia or any of the other big travel agency sites. So we're also trying to help the casinos utilize their website as a better place for room bookings, because for some reason they don't, even though they should have a better understanding of the rooms that are available, they're still feeding out a lot of those rooms to the Expedias of the world, the C-Trips of the world, and people go there to get deals when it'd be much better if they book through the online portal of the casinos and hotels. I think the Russian gaming industry is a pretty new, a nascent industry. So I think you are looking at, similar things where we're talking to some casinos in Cambodia, and I know the education level in Russia is very high, but you're dealing with an industry in which since it's very new, you're going to have to educate and skill up a lot of people. And you can do that the old way, which is a very expensive way, or you can do it in a much more powerful machine learning and AI way. And that can work in two ways. It can be, you can actually look and see the people who are actually in your casinos right now who are doing well, and you can look at their history, their demographics, and understand them on a very deep level, deep psychological level, and then go out and actually, as you are hiring, find people that fit those profiles. And the second way would be use AI intelligence to figure out what is the best way to teach the people that you are that are actually already working for you. We do a lot of things, or we do things with looking at hand speeds, why people, there's some dealers that are actually going to be dealing a lot faster than other dealers. So if there's ways that you can figure out what this person is doing that makes it 30% faster than the person sitting across from him, that'll actually increase, it should be able to increase your, the other dealers who are a bit slower. So, and these are ways that things like that do actually have a huge effect on the bottom line, because that's where you're making your money. So those would be, I think, the biggest ways that AI could be used in the Russian gaming industry. So I'll be speaking about AI and machine learning in casino and sports betting industry, and basically going into detail on use cases on how we have implemented it within the casino industry, as well as how we are working with our vendor partners to create some new solutions. We have some risk management solutions, we have some CRM solutions, and I'll also detail a lot of the products that are coming or are on the market or are coming onto the market, and then also explain how open source solutions can fit within your current systems, or how they can maybe augment them. And there's a lot of ways to utilize machine learning in customer acquisition, customer churn, and customer marketing. And I'll detail exactly what we are doing and some of the theories I have as well that I think would be useful for the future.